Hello, everybody, and I'm very happy to be here. Usually, I'm situated in Shanghai, China, and I'm very happy. Thank you, Amazon, for inviting me over. And MC gave you a very short, brief introduction of what WorldFirst really is. It's very well spoken. It makes my life much easier. I'm going to bring a very short introduction, several pages, to introduce how we look at the market and what we can do for the sellers globally trying to have e-commerce business growth. WorldFirst is founded in 2004. It has close to 20 years of history. It originated out of UK. Over the past close to 20 years of development, there are multiple so-called milestones that we've been through. I want to highlight two milestones which I think is significant and relevant for all the sellers here. First, in 2013 and 14, which is about 10 years ago, we opened up our Asian offices, including Hong Kong, China, including Singapore offices, and we start serving our first Chinese customers, trying to help this fast-growing business. And I think second milestone is 2019, where Ant International, a part of the Ant Group, actually 100% acquired WorldFirst. The reason being, Ant, as one of the most famous fintech company in China, the operator of the Alipay wallet, we do see the huge demand for cross-border e-commerce business. Instead of we trying to do everything ourselves, a pure acquisition made a lot of sense at that time. And WorldFirst has a very good infrastructure, very good brand, so we made the purchase. And 4 years later, we becoming the most dominant PSP serving cross-border sellers in China. And our vision is we want to help smaller guys to win in this difficult market. We want to be your partner. We want to be your CFO for the global cross-border business. Cumulatively, over the past close to 20 years, we've been serving over 1 million SMEs, and we've been processing over $200 billion volumes. And we have offices, physical offices, in over 19 cities around the globe. A very short kind of introduction in terms of what we have been doing over the past year or so. We have seen tremendous growth, by the way. I know the market is very difficult, but our sellers, they welcomed our strategy, they welcomed our product and service. We have been seeing over 67% growth in Singapore, and we have seen globally over 56% growth for global sellers. And how and why? Why are sellers liking our product and the service? I'm going to give you a short introduction as well. I want to share some of the things that I've seen when I visit my clients around the globe. What are the new and the latest trends? What are the best practices that we have been observing out of our sellers? First, emerging markets are picking up. We just noticed that because of the reasons, for example, high inflation, uncertainties geopolitically, and sellers are looking for broad or more diverse business models. From a region perspective, people are looking at different regions. And is my product selling in one region? Is it possible I can bring the same product or similar product or modified product to other regions? So we have observing emerging markets are picking up. The fastest growing markets, including South America, places like Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, as well as Middle East. And the fast growing markets, we see Southeast Asia is developing really rapidly. The second is the smart or successful sellers, they pay a lot of attention on their operational efficiency. A major part of the operational efficiency comes from supply chain management. Can you procure your supply cheaper and more efficiently than your competitors? Because the market is growing, no doubt, but the market is growing competitively as well. It's getting saturated. So how to maintain the edge, how to be more efficient, how to outrun your competitor in a given market. I think it's the critical thing that any seller has to think. So supply chain management is critical, especially in today's uncertain environment, right? Things are moving, things are changing. Sometimes your traditional supplier may or may not be able to serve you anymore. So what's the plan B? So you have to think about plan B. And also scale. Scale is critical. When we study the numbers, surprisingly, I think this is the first time we've seen this very dominant trend where the bigger, more efficient, more professional so-called sellers, they are performing better. In the past, it wasn't like this. In the past, it was like a niche players. If you are small enough, you're nimble enough, sometimes you have a above average type of return. But this year, when we look at based on scale, if you are a $1 million kind of seller versus $10 million seller or versus a $100 million seller, actually, the bigger guys are growing faster because they are more efficient, because they are more, adaptive, because their supply chain management is better, because they can price the same thing better than you do. Then you have to think, how can I get better as well, right? How can I become the upper so-called tier of the seller group? So those are the things you have to pay attention to. And also another interesting trend is called localization. Okay, if I'm a Singaporean seller in Singapore, I sell to Amazon US, it's great. I mean, I can make some money, it's great. But what if, should I have a US registered company to sell to the US consumers on Amazon US? That's a very difficult question to answer because it comes with expenses, it comes with uncertainty, it comes with cost. But we do see the rules are changing, the game is evolving. Okay, all the platforms, they want to make happy customers, right? They want to have better fulfillment capabilities. Being local give you the chance to fulfill, to serve better. So which means from the traffic perspective, a lot of the platform, including Amazon, is actually wanting you to be local, to be more domestic, because that creates happier customers. So we have a product which we introduce sellers to platforms like Amazon. We see in Q2, people register as a local seller to sell on Amazon or other platforms increased 112%. Again, this is the new trend. This is because the market is getting competitive, okay? Not only you have to have a good product, but also you have to serve your customer well, okay? You have to respond to changes in a given local market faster and better than your competitors. And what we can do, as WorldFirst, a payment service provider, what we can do, how we look at the journey as a seller, and what our product and services can help you to win and fight in this tough environment and the battle. The way we look at the entire e-commerce business, okay, we look at the business itself to begin. Okay, the red line means the journey, right? As a seller, you probably have to procure your supplies, right? More often than not, you probably procure something out of China. And then you're going to do packaging, you're going to do a little bit of redesign, and then you start shipping those things to the overseas market. And along the way, you probably buy a little bit ads here. You want to make sure you are digitized, that you have this digital operation or marketing team up and running. And finally, you made a sale, right? You made a sale on platforms like Amazon. So what we can do to help on each point of action. For example, once you sold something on Amazon, you want to get the money back in Singapore, right? So we need to provide a multi-currency account. So we are able to provide over 18 currencies, allowing you to collect the money back. And also, along the way, there's some FX exchange involved because you're collecting US dollars or euros if you're operating on Amazon Europe, or Japanese yen if you're operating on Amazon Japan, but you back to Singapore dollar, you're going to do some FX. So we're going to provide efficient, cost-efficient, safe, and multi-function type of FX service for you. And also, when you are building up your stock, right, because you're anticipating a huge Prime Day, you need some financing. No problem. We provide you embedded financing with our Anex Bank. We have a digital banking license under the group Ant Group as well. And eventually, once you get all the money back, you want to pay your suppliers, right? You want to pay your suppliers, you want to pay your logistic service providers as well, et cetera, et cetera. We have this cross-border pay directly allowing you to pay the suppliers in China more efficiently, more securely. So these are the features we think we can help our sellers along the way on different point of actions. For example, multi-currency account, as I said before, is 18 currencies. I'm not going to belabor myself to go through each one of them. We have our payment solutions to enable access to China's supply chain, right? If you want to procure your suppliers or procure from your suppliers, there are multiple ways you can do it, right? You can go to the offline. Right, next week, we have a huge Canton Fair in Guangzhou, China. A lot of the foreign buyers are going to go and talk to their suppliers. And yes, it's offline procurement. What we have is we have this request to receive product which you and your suppliers can both use Word account so that your transfer money between yourselves and the suppliers will be instant and free. Okay, you will instantly, safely get the money to your supplier will receive the money free of charge with security. Also, you can procure online, right? 1688 is a huge website, most dominant website, B2B website in China. Okay, you can go to the website, they have a session for offline, so-called offshore sellers. If you like something, you can directly pay out of WorldFirst. We're the only one allowing you to use your balance in US dollars to directly purchase, procure items from 1688 in CNY. Again, it's direct, it's secure, and it's instant. If you don't know what exactly is 1688, it is one of the largest B2B websites for domestic Chinese procurement purposes. But now they have a session, and then they realize that there are a lot of needs actually from offshore sellers, right? So you can visit the website, and you can pick out items, you can talk to the suppliers, and then you can make a payment, directly through WorldFirst. It gives you the edge. To procure widely, to procure efficiently, as well as to procure cost effectively. There's no payment limit. We offer competitive FX rates. It's automatic refund, it's convenient, and it's secured. We call it cross-border pay. And also, as I mentioned before, when you are building up your stock, you need money, right? Without money, the stock doesn't happen. So we have ANEX Bank. It's a digital bank licensed in Singapore, one of the 4 banks that allowed by the Singapore government in order to promote and support SME business. Okay, it's hassle-free. We offer competitive rates and flexible repayment options, and up to 300K Sing dollars. So these are the things that we try to help, our sellers to win in this competitive market. And just to close up today's session, I want to share 3 tips based on the observation of thousands sellers in China, how to win in this tough market. I think the number 1 remains to be compliant and be compliant and be compliant, because there are rules surrounding any given platform. Be respectful of those rules. So you need to learn and understand. So that comes to second learning. Good sellers has to be compliant sellers. And good sellers has to be sellers that have the ability to learn. Because nowadays, the game is changing. The way the traffic is directed and redirected is differently. There are new things coming. There are new business models coming. There are new platforms coming. So the competition not arises from so-called Amazon sellers within the ecosystem, but from also other platform sellers, right? So how to defend against it? You have to learn. You have to learn the digital marketing, the most in trend, what may be, you have to learn. You have to keep up the pace. Whatever worked last year, whatever worked in the past, may not work in 2023, and definitely a higher chance not working for the coming year. So good seller has to be adaptive, has to be learning. So that's the second. Never be complacent, never lean on your history, and you have to learn. And the third, you have to be long-term thinking. You have to be having a long-term angle to think about your business. I assume most of the sellers are not doing this for 6 months, right? We're not doing this for 12 months. We're doing this for a long time. Hopefully it will be something for our career. You know, we can support a family, we can support a company, we can retire out of it. Then you have to think in a long-term strategy. Do you need a brand? How to set up a brand? How to bring up the brand awareness? Because brand is something that's really costly, and the return is very difficult to measure in the short term. But everybody knows that once you have the brand, you can earn the premium, the brand premium, right? So what to do with it? I think it has a lot of long-term strategic planning as well. And also plan when you get big. I met a lot of sellers. They're very good. They're very good when the company has 20 people. They're very good when the company has 70 people. But they're not that good when the company has 200 people. Because that requires your organizational structure, your strength in terms of management. Not managing your product, not managing your customers, it's managing your people. Okay? So again, go back to the tip number 2, you have to learn. Because managing 200 people is not natural, it's just not natural. Most of the entrepreneurs, they're not born managers. So you have to learn, you have to prepare for the fact that what if your product starts selling like a hot cake? I've seen situations when product selling like a hot cake is the trigger a company going down next year. Because they got overexcited, they start hiring, recruiting, they start burying too much debt, and they don't have the ability to maneuver with a 200-man company. Eventually, bust in the dust. Okay? So these are my part of the sharing, and WorldFirst, we're here to play, we're here to serve. Okay? So if you have any questions, we have a booth right outside, and please talk to our salesman, and hopefully everybody have a great, great Prime Day. Thank you.